Good morning, Friday morning, December 6th. I got Ben Hadley hanging out right over here next to me. I'm so excited to hang out with him. We're talking about Subaru top and reliability list, Tesla leasing, and ship must. Ship with a P must. Ben, how you doing? Been a long time since you've been on the show, bro.
Dude, it has. And actually, the last time I think I did it with Daily. Didn't I?
Wow. Yeah.
Wasn't it?
Have you completely cloned yourself with AI yet? Has that happened?
BenHadley.com/AI. You can talk to me. Press the top right button. Press the call button. It'll be my voice. Chat with me.
So the answer is yes.
Yeah, the answer is yes. It's pretty good. It's not
if
like...
you're not watching this on video, this is the real Ben Hadley that I'm talking to right now. So
or is it?
We're still good. At least I think. Someday I won't know.
I'm scaling Ben.
Scaling. That's scary. I don't know if automotive needs a scaled Ben. I'm not sure if I don't know if we're ready. Oh man. Hey, this afternoon, we got a couple things going on. We have a webinar with Stream Companies talking about how to build your marketing plan for 2025. That is this afternoon at 2 p.m. Eastern. You can go to asotu.com. That's asotu.com. Scroll down. Hit the link. Don't miss it. If you can't be there, register. You'll get the recording right after. You can kind of figure out what you're doing for 2025. If you haven't started to figure that out, there's no better time than the present because things are going to get crazy next year. Also, if you haven't figured out what you're doing for NADA, you can go to NADAparties.com, start to scope all the parties. Make sure you get tickets to the Asotu party, which is on Friday night. We're partnering with Upstart Clairvoy to make sure and do that. It's a 2-hour happy hour. It's your first stop. You just in and out, see all your friends, get some sick swag, and get on with your evening. But you got to go to NADAparties.com. Just so you know, industry partner tickets, they sold out in like 3 days. There's a few dealer tickets left. We don't have a lot of space. You got to make it happen. You gonna be there, Ben? You gotta be there.
I'll have to use my dealership.
Oh boy. No.
Yeah.
Canceled.
No, done. Dude. My family. Come on.
Oh, that's true. You do. I love it.
I can.
You can lean on that. You can lean on that. That's fair. All right. Let's get into it. Hey, we're looking at Consumer Reports 2025 brand report card, and Subaru has topped the reliability rankings while domestic automakers are struggling to keep pace in things like safety, performance, and reliability metrics, things that people actually care about when they're driving cars. Subaru's overall score was 82, edging out BMW at 78 and Lexus at 77. It also topped the reliability rankings for the first time, dethroning Lexus and Toyota for the first time. Brands like Honda, Kia, and Hyundai joined Subaru, Lexus, and Toyota in the top 10. Chrysler, listen to this, jumped 8 spots to 16th, while Ford, GM, and Jeep fell in rankings. Still, as an overall trend, plug-in hybrids and EVs are remaining less reliable overall than conventional hybrids, though the gap is starting to narrow. Obviously, the notes are just that the more you change, the more technology that goes in there, the more you're early. Seems like the reliability isn't all the way there yet, although obviously the gap is closing.
Call out 2 things. One, it's odd to me, and this would be such a longer discussion, but it is odd to me that BMW climbed up so much. And for some reason, I associated the delicacy of a BMW with its luxury. Just like, Jaguars brake a ton. I almost said the word we can't even say without people freaking out. But Jaguars, brake all the time. But that was like part of the draw. Is like, yeah, I'm rich enough to afford something that breaks all the time.
I don't know if it's like part of the draw, but okay.
No, I think it is.
The Rover,
it is.
Land Rover, the same thing.
Land Rover,
it's totally fine. I can fix it. It's fine.
I don't care. It's baller. I can just deal with it. But then you have like Subaru, right? Toyota. These are like the most reliable. Like, yeah, don't even touch it for 20 years. It's going to be fine. Vehicles. And it makes you feel like, yeah, value, for sure, value, but luxury, I don't know. Right. I don't know. There's something in there.
You want to know the one that shocked me? You want to know the one that shocked me, actually? It was sitting in the 4 spot, was Porsche. In the 4 spot. For overall,
What?
the overall brand report card for road test reliability, satisfaction, and safety. Pretty impressive.
That is impressive. Like, I wish I could afford one. I was more blown away by the EV statement. I think like I keep on, I'm in a bubble, but I keep on reading that EVs are so reliable and they're so like, there's only one thing could ever break. There's only 5 parts.
Yeah, I think people are looking at well, the Consumer Reports study always looks at reliability also from a pardon me, software perspective. And even though you get this like auto update over the air, right? People are experiencing software breakage more often just in their day-to-day, right? Which we're used to, and kind of like it's like, oh, my iPhone isn't working great. Turn it off, turn it back on. It's fine,
Right.
But that's not a normal course of events in our cars, where even though you might not be going to the shop to get something fixed, you're still experiencing this like feeling of not being as reliable as maybe what you expect, right? I think that's
Yeah, I would throw like the weird part is too, traditionally, I probably never in any of my ICE vehicles use, for example, the software on the vehicle.
yeah,
I
right.
was always immediately like Apple, but Apple, Android Auto, something. So I don't even know if that stuff was working. Like I don't know if their GPS worked.
No,
I wouldn't use,
it
I wouldn't
doesn't
use
work.
your navigation.
Nobody even thought to check, actually.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think anybody logged in. Consumer Reports is like, yeah, like plug in Android Auto. I don't, it's
Just forget about it. It'll be
yeah.
Yeah. Oh man. Hey, let's we're gonna keep moving. I got no segue. Well, hopefully we get a segue.
I mean, I'm not giving you one, dude. I'm not even like laying it up.
Tesla is making a stronger push into leasing to sustain its US sales momentum. The lease penetration this year has gone from 8% in 2023. It peaked at 31% in April of this year, and then is down to about 15% as of September. Obviously, the note's just a little bit old on that, just looking at all of the registrations. Obviously, some automakers are seeing lease penetration on EVs up to 90%, leveraging the $7,500 tax credit to reduce that initial cap cost, making obviously leasing the incentive, the best incentive for EVs a lot. Tesla also is now allowing buyouts for all its vehicles, including the Model 3, Model Y, and the Cybertruck, enhancing appeal and leasing to its next to its consumers. Elon Musk has still this year set a target to surpass last year's 1.8 million global deliveries, despite reporting a 2.3% sales decline through the first 3 quarters this year. So they're hoping for a big rebound. Maybe leasing will be a big part of that.
Yo, and he's in the news being like, get rid of the 7,500. Wild.
Well, because it's not going to impact him that much longer.
Oh, got it. It.
Right, yeah, you're like, oh, you only got a few of those left anyway. You're trying to not let
we don't need
creep up
this anymore. On okay, fair.
Nobody's even talking about that. It's really great.
And dude, we did have a segue. We were like laid up on EVs. You could have been like, hold on, let me try to do my first segue. It would have been, speaking of reliability with EVs. Segue. Tesla, skibbity bibbity boobity.
That was strong. I'm proud of you for getting your first segue.
That was my first.
Yeah. I've kind of contended for this. I was just talking to Paul earlier this week about and Michael Cirillo about the fact that there are a couple EV auto, actually I think it's NIO in Europe, that is really challenging like the ownership journey and doing these short-term leases with battery swaps. So you're actually leasing the battery, and then the vehicle is kind of a shell around it. And so I still think that, it's yet for like the financiers to kind of figure out what the matrix is, similar to phone life cycles, and how, people are moving in and out of these EVs and then keeping them on the road with the used EVs. Do we continue, do we see a lot more leasing and used as well? Because I think people are just going to get used to that technology upgrade over 2 or 3 years, a little bit more than even we had in the past. Seeing like a 3.1 year trade-in cycle. We might see that trade cycle increase because of EVs, because people are looking for the latest technology, the best batteries, all of that, especially as EV adoption is still kind of on an upward trend.
Yeah, I think it all has to do with the residual, and basically what freaks me out is for a really long period of time there was like no difference between a 2015 and a 16 Tesla,
Right.
right? But then around like 2018 they're like, "Oh, this one's going to be able to drive itself." And you're like,
Huh.
"Why? The one I bought last year. What about that one?" They're like, "Nah, sorry."
Not
Like,
enough
well,
cameras. Sorry
it's a
about
pretty
your luck.
big difference. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
like with Apple being like, "Hey, this one will have AI that can do everything for you." And you're like, "Well, what about the 13 that I got in my pocket?" Nah, dude,
Nope.
sorry.
Nope.
So I
Gotta
think we're going to see the residual of those ones start having really funky metrics around them, because it's like, yeah, there's these giant swings where
Yeah,
um
you just can't even do anything with it, basically.
totally. Yeah, it's like, "Oh, cool. Good luck."
Yep. Yep. Speaking of upgrades.
Stop.
Segue.
Time.
Pretty good.
All right. Stay tuned for the next 23 minutes of our podcast as Ben talks about the OpenAI 12 days of shipmess. And in their first day, they dropped ChatGPT Pro. It's a $200 a month plan that provides unlimited access. So none of that end of the day junk where you can't access it to OpenAI's.
Guess who already got it?
GPT 4.0 and advanced voice memo mode. And they've said like, hey, it's going to allow for anything else that starts to use extra compute power through its platform. The O1 model replaces the O1 preview, now offers faster, more accurate responses with better capacities in things like math, coding, and reasoning with images. I think it's 128K context window and has like 34% image recognition and image generation. A newly announced grant program will also provide free pro subscriptions to 10 medical researchers with plans for broader grants in other fields. OpenAI's shipments includes a 12-day series of announcements, including the long-expected text-to-video AI tool for Sora. Lots of stuff coming. They've been prepping.
Yeah, I mean, I instantly bought it. Instantly bought it. It's so ridiculous. I was telling you before, I really need to like look at my bills of how many AIs I've employed at this point. But that one was an instant buy. I think the ability to have unlimited compute is actually an insane bargain. Sounds crazy for $200, but I personally would almost every day go over the limit of ChatGPT. It'd be like, hey, wait until like 4 o'clock and you can come back and get. I'm like, no, that's not happening. So you end up making other accounts or whatever. It's super annoying. Have you heard Sam Altman though? He has this plan that he calls universal basic compute.
No.
So it's the same idea. Same idea as like universal basic income. Like we all need a certain amount of income in order to survive. The thought is that we all need in the future we'll need a certain amount of compute to survive.
Interesting.
And so yeah, and so this actually looks like his first step towards that, which is like let's get like an idea of how much compute everybody would maximally need. And then, you can start divvying out compute as a sort of resource.
Like everybody gets internet kind of thing. Everybody gets AI. Yeah.
Everybody gets a little bit of AI. And then, if you need more, you ramp it up.
You know what's crazy? I read a stat yesterday that over 40% of the US currently has never engaged directly now, and this is like intentionally engaged with an AI service. So anything that someone like isn't maybe an AI chat on a company website, like intentionally subscribed.
Dude, shout out my buddy, close buddy, one of my best friends, Dragon Yeftich. He texts me this video. He's like, "This is insane," and it's just ChatGPT talking. And I was like, "Bro, where you been?" He was like, "You could like make a podcast just talking to this thing," and I was like, "Bro, yeah." Because he sent me this YouTube video I watched. It was a 15-minute one. So you're like, all right, bro, you love someone when you're going to watch the full 15 video that they send you. So I watched the whole thing. I'm like, bro, when's it going to get interesting? He's like, the phone is just talking to the guy. I'm like, So that gave me like a real idea of how much of a bubble I live in, right?
Absolutely.
Or we all
Absolutely.
live in. Yeah.
I'm literally I'm on a plane this week, and this person next to me is talking to someone across the aisle, and they're like, have you heard of this new AI stuff? Like that's the mentality. So, again, when you think about like the gap to the knowledge gap that exists right now and the opportunity that early adopters have to like understand and be ahead, it's a 6-month curve, right?
Hit that button
Like,
for me, bro.
that's
I got my second segue.
Stop.
Segue.
Time.
You have to
Speaking
say
of-
the segue first.
You? Oh, my bad. This is part 2. Let's do it again. Part 2. Roll it. Speaking of early adopters in AI, we got a newsletter for you to sign up for.
Yeah, you definitely should. It's autoindustry.ai, and we're just trying to give it. Look, if you only sign up for the prompt of the week, we're giving you like practical tools to understand like prompt language every single week, the type of language, the type of like fleshing out that you need to give GPT or any other engine to like really give you the right feedback. Instead of, I see so many people just typing in like 7 words and trying to get something out. No, it's you have
Treating
to
it
go
like Google.
treat it. Yeah, you're treating it like Google. You need to treat it like a person that you like like a real assistant that you're asking to do a deep task, and even using like turn words and this but that type stuff. And so if that prompt a week is the only reason why you go to autoindustry.ai and sign up for the weekly email, you got to do it.
Let's go.
Let's get into Friday. We got the first weekend in December rolling. This is still a hot one. This ain't Christmas yet. Time to put your selling shoes on, your servicing shoes on, loving some people a lot more than you love cars.